And now for a Next News special report.
Breaking news tonight, Democrats in disarray as Biden's presidency teeters on the brink. Hollywood elites and party insiders are jumping ship, leaving the White House scrambling. We've got explosive video revealing what's really happening behind closed doors, from Obama's secret phone calls to Pelosi's backstage maneuvering. We'll uncover it all. And wait until you hear Trump's blistering response to the unfolding drama. Plus, a shocking development about Kamala Harris that could change everything. So stay tuned. You won't believe our final thought on this crisis. Now, folks, before we dive deeper into this political storm, let me tell you about another crisis brewing, one that's hitting Americans right in their wallets. Just like Democrats are feeling how they're fleeing from Biden, millions are desperately trying to escape skyrocketing AC bills. But unlike Joe, I found a solution that actually works. It's a game-changing device that's helping me slash my cooling costs and beat those greedy utility companies at their own game. This mini AC unit can make any room icy cold in minutes, potentially saving you a fortune. Visit EasySummerCool.com now for up to 60% off with a 60-day guarantee and fast USA shipping. Don't let high bills leave you sweating like Biden's campaign staff. Now let's jump right into it. Yes, this political powder keg, it's threatening to blow the Democrat Party sky high. The Biden administration's in full-blown crisis mode, and it's not just us saying it. It's coming from right within their own ranks. Now, it's no secret that Joe Biden's been stumbling lately. But what's happening behind the scenes is even more shocking. We've got intel that former President Barack Obama is playing puppet master, orchestrating moves that to potentially push Biden out of the race. Don't believe me? Well, take a look at this bombshell report from, of all places, Morning Joe.
I will say one thing that we do have to underline here, just so viewers can follow what's going on behind the scenes, is the Biden campaign and many Democratic officials do believe that Barack Obama is quietly working behind the scenes to orchestrate this. And if Joe Biden believes that, that's not going to get him out of the race any faster. Anytime David Axelrod attacks him, David Axelrod ensures that Joe Biden will dig himself in another day.
Playbook is reporting this morning that George Clooney gave former President Obama a heads up about the op-ed he was going to post in the New York Times. President Obama reportedly, according to Playbook, didn't object.
I love Matt Damon, but you know, George Clooney. I mean. Oh, brother, where art thou, Willie? And
I did like that movie.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
And I don't like movies.
My children and I have seen Fantastic Mr. Fox more than any other movie in the history of mankind, so I cannot diss George Clooney if I actually want to ever watch that with my kids again.
This wasn't George Clooney.
What do you mean?
It just wasn't. Come on.
Who do you think it was? Matt Damon?
It was not Matt Damon.
Who do you think it was?
It wasn't Julia Roberts either.
Who do you think it was? You can say the name. You won't melt. It's not Voldemort. Are you saying you think Barack Obama put him up to this?
I think that Barack Obama has a lot of influence, and I think that there's a lot there.
You heard that right. Obama's quietly pulling strings, and it's causing panic in the Biden camp. But it gets worse. Hollywood heavyweight George Clooney, a longtime Democrat darling, dropped a nuclear bomb on Biden's re-election hopes. Check out what he wrote in the New York Times. "We are not going to win in November with this president." Clooney is not mincing words here, folks. He's saying what we've all been saying: Biden is not up to the job anymore. And guess who's loving this Democrat meltdown? None other than President Trump. Here's what he had to say about Clooney's betrayal. He turned on Crooked Joe like the rats that they both are. Trump is hitting the nail on the head. Biden's presidency has been a disaster, and now even his Hollywood pals are jumping ship. But it is not just Clooney. Even CNN's Jake Tapper couldn't ignore this growing revolt. Watch this.
As the floodgates against Joe Biden's continued candidacy appear to be opening a bit, the day began with the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, seeming to suggest that Biden should reconsider his decision to run for re-election, and other lawmakers followed suit. But the most damning opinion shared today came from Academy Award-winning actor George Clooney, who emphatically called on President Biden to step aside in a New York Times op-ed titled, "I love Joe Biden, but we need a new nominee." Clooney, who has led some of the Democratic Party's biggest fundraisers in American history, including for Biden on June 15th, writes in the op-ed, quote, "I love Joe Biden as a senator, as a vice president, and as president. I consider him a friend, and I believe in him, believe in his character, believe in his morals. In the last 4 years, he's won many of the battles he's faced, but the one battle he cannot win is the fight against time. None of us can. It's devastating to say it, but the Joe Biden I was with 3 weeks ago at the fundraiser was not the Joe big effing deal Biden of 2010. He wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate."
Nancy Pelosi, the former speaker, is also getting in on the action. She's reportedly giving the green light to vulnerable Democrats to distance themselves from Biden. It's every man for himself in the Democrat Party right now. And if you thought it couldn't get any worse for Biden, just wait. His own campaign staff are on the verge of mental breakdowns. The pressure is so intense that they are resorting to desperate tactics. Now get a load of this pathetic response to Clooney's criticism.
And in response to those comments from George Clooney, Jake, a campaign official who attended that Los Angeles fundraiser tells me that George Clooney left 3 hours before the president. So clearly the gloves are off. Jake?
But what does that mean, that George Clooney left 3 hours? What's the point?
The point of that is to suggest that Biden's stamina is better than Clooney's, and Clooney didn't have, eyes on the entire event. That's the response to the Clooney op-ed.
Okay. Kayla Tashi, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Karen Finney.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to talk Clooney.
I will. I know this is your favorite topic. Look, it just seems like every day is going to be like this with people saying he should drop out, people that are Democratic Party stalwarts. George Clooney gets nothing out of this. What does he gain? The only reason to do this is because he feels like he needs to convey this.
Yeah.
How does this end?
So let's just stipulate to the facts that this is not good. This is bad. Let's just say the obvious, right?
Okay, thank you.
Can you believe that? They're actually trying to say Biden has more stamina than Clooney because he stayed at a fundraiser longer. Talk about grasping at straws. But here's the real kicker, folks. While Biden's ship is sinking, his team is already eyeing the lifeboats. We've got word that they're secretly testing how Kamala Harris would fare against Trump. Watch.
The reporting is it involves the Biden campaign, and they are assessing the viability of a candidacy by the vice president. Let me bring in Monica Alba. Monica, what can you tell us about how they're looking at Kamala Harris and why?
Well, NBC News is confirming this was first reported by the New York Times, Chris. But what's significant here is that I'm told by a source that's familiar with this testing that is going on this week that this is being done in the context of trying to assess how she would fare against the presumptive Republican nominee as a direct result of what we have seen Donald Trump do in the last couple of days, which is to step up his attacks against her specifically, given there are questions about whether Joe Biden will still be the Democratic nominee in November. He insists that he will, but of course we know, as you were just discussing, because of this pressure from other Democrats and lawmakers, that there could be a change here if the president decides to step aside. So the Biden campaign is doing this. I understand that this is being commissioned by the Biden campaign's own analytics team. And importantly, and what we should point out here, and what a Democratic operative told us, is that essentially this is something you would be doing if you're trying to give a message to President Biden to sort of test how the vice president would do and whether she may fare better, worse, or the same as he is doing in the current polling, that this would be a data point that you could maybe show to the president as he, in the weeks ahead, could potentially have difficult conversations about his candidacy. Again, the Biden campaign is saying that he is full steam ahead. That is what they're certainly insisting publicly, but I think this is a concession session that there are larger conversations going on about if there would be a change at the top of the ticket, and that the natural person, as we've been talking about, the mechanisms for how this would work would be Vice President Kamala Harris. So that is the next sort of part of this story in terms of how she would do. And there has been some polling out there already where they've been trying to sort of test how she would do against Donald Trump. But obviously the Biden team, for their own interests, wants to have their own assessment. And that is why they're going to be continuing with that polling. It sounds like at least this week, and then we'll see what the actual results of that. But we should also point out, Chris, that according to a memo that we obtained today, the Biden campaign and senior advisors are saying that, yes, they're acknowledging there has been real movement in what we've seen in the polls, certainly in those battleground states since the disastrous debate performance 2 weeks ago. But they're insisting that it doesn't amount to a sea change in the state of the race. And so, again, they are trying to argue that Joe Biden is still their candidate, still the nominee, still the person that they're going to go on this journey with. But it is notable that they are zooming out and taking this larger picture should that change.
This is huge, folks. It's a clear sign that even Biden's inner circle is losing faith. They're preparing for the worst, and Kamala Harris might just be their Hail Mary pass. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Folks, let's be real here. Biden's days are numbered, and as they eye Kamala, we all know the truth. We want Joe to stick around. Trump's going to mop the floor with him come November, and even if they prop up Kamala, she doesn't stand a chance either. It's almost comical watching Clooney turn his back and Obama pull the strings. You know, it reminds me of a Babylon Bee headline that I saw. In the new Ocean's 14, George Clooney pulls off $30 million heist by tricking people into giving money to a politician before revealing he's demented. Except this time, it's not a movie. It's the Democrat Party. And America is the one being robbed blind.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.